From the Daily Mail, Kentucky college professor is suspended over unacceptable comment about Trump shooting. My oh my, friends, the debate rages on. Libs of TikTok highlighting the comments of run-of-the-mill employees at Home Depot and nurses and teachers. And my oh my, they're all getting fired. I don't care. I'm not sure I'm a fan of going after run-of-the-mill random nobodies from high-profile accounts. That's fine, I guess, to make a point of. But it has never been that cancel culture is telling people not to advocate for murder and violence. We now have these classical liberal types, these disaffected liberals, former lefties, lamenting that these people are losing their jobs and that people on the right are getting them fired through cancel culture. And I believe this is the banality of evil. I believe that the left, these activists, are abject evil. And I believe the run-of-the-mill liberals that have defended their evil for a long time is the banality of it. The acceptance of commonplace evil actions which destroy the function of society. We'll start with this story. Who is this here college professor and what is the argument being made? Well, I tell you this, even Elon Musk has chimed in. Someone tweeted, you shouldn't wield the power of cancel culture now that you have it because you're just as bad as your enemies. And Elon Musk says, I agree. But I believe this is the false equivocation and the lies. And it's so perfectly built up by the left. The left used to argue that when we were advocating for free speech, when we were trying to play the center and defending conservatives' right to speak, that there's Klansmen and black people. And the black people are saying we want rights, and the Klansmen are saying they want death. And the centrist is making a stupid face, and he's like, compromise? That's what they're doing now. Because it has never been that conservatives were advocating for death. And we've never defended that. The left lied and argued that conservatives who believed in equality under the law were advocating for racist, discriminatory policies and death. But that was a lie. We have always opposed advocacy for violence. That's been the crux of the argument. In 2019, when I sat down with Twitter, I said, hey, look, Antifa's advocating violence, ban them. And everyone said they should be banned, and they wouldn't be. Meanwhile, you got banned for saying learn to code. You got banned for citing crime statistics. Tommy Robinson and others got banned for calling out child predators on the street. That's cancel culture. But more to the point, cancel culture was when Sarah Silverman lost her job for doing blackface. And we defended that's ridiculous. She did it 10 years before she got fired. 10 years ago. She's supposed to be in a movie. They fire her. Say, 10 years ago, you did blackface. You can't do that. She's like, but that's 10 years ago. It's a totally different time. Race car driver lost a sponsor because his dad said a slur in the 80s before he was born. Here we go. John James, an English professor at Bellarmine University, was placed on leave after a post in which he says, if you're going to shoot, man, don't miss. The comment was posted along with the New York Times story reporting that Trump was safe. A Catholic university in Louisville said the words and actions condoning violence are unacceptable and contrary to our values, which call for respecting the intrinsic value and dignity of every individual. Mr. James' comment, which came after a screenshot taken of an Instagram story, which is designed to disappear in 24 hours, was broadcast by Libs of TikTok, a popular conservative social media account. Colin Wright tweets this. Being against cancel culture matters most when you have the power to cancel. As the political right gains more cultural and political power, it's important to remain principled. If you claim to be against cancel culture when you are powerless and being canceled, but you aren't against it now that you have the power, then you were never really against cancel culture. My God, help us. The argument from these people, it is so vile, it is so deceptive, it is plumb wrong. Liv Bowery says, is the woman's Facebook post in bad taste? Yes. Does it warrant international attention? Of course not, it had 10 likes. Both left and right are being taken over by moralizing authoritarian bullies, picking on inconsequential and defenseless individuals for clicks. Be better. I am playing this game. It is an absurdity. Here's, let me see if I can refresh this. Natalie Danilician, the left and some on the right. Oh my God, don't cancel people for their horrible comments about the assassination attempt on Trump. Also the left. We need to cancel this kid because he smiled. I think I might have one more. This one is, we got to refresh these these ex-posts. People got fired for wearing MAGA hats in their Facebook photo, for making the OK hand sign, for donating $25 to Kyle Rittenhouse. People have been physically assaulted in hundreds of different incidents for supporting Trump opposing BLM in public. People have been murdered for supporting Trump. There have been hundreds of Trump-related hate crime hoaxes in the past 8 years. 2/3 of Democrat voters wanted you put on house arrest for not getting the vaccine. 45% wanted you in a camp. No target was ever too minor. No offense ever too trivial. No shame was ever felt. No mercy ever granted. There was literally nothing that could make me feel bad about liberals and leftists getting a taste of their own medicine. I do not care. And I will pause there and we'll wrap it all back. It's not a taste of their own medicine. I have never advocated for people's opinions to be shut down. I have always stated that advocacy for violence is the line and should not be allowed. I am not a free speech absolutist, nor have I ever claimed to be. I have always argued for censorship. But let's understand the nuance. I am sick of these moralless individuals. They have no morals, and they barely have principles. Let's talk about censorship. What does that mean? Censorship is an official action to suppress images and information. I am for this. Why? Because people post snuff and child abuse online, and I believe it is appropriate and good that people like Ian Crossland, when he worked for Minds.com, would intentionally delete those posts to prevent people from sharing them and seeing them. That is censorship. And it was the good-natured Ian Crossland who alerted me to that point. When we had been saying censorship over and over and over again, forgetting the nuance of what the bigger picture is. And Ian said, I worked at Minds and we had child abuse and we censored that. And I said, okay, well, yeah, that's a good thing, though. So what are we concerned about with censorship? I'm glad Ian brought that up so we could clarify the nuance in our position. What we don't want to see is someone saying, hey, guys, I took a look at FBI crime data and I have questions about why there's a racial disparity. I'm not going to tell you what the answer is. I'm going to say someone pointed that out. You got banned. Tommy Robinson famously criticized grooming gangs. These are child sexual predators. Suspended. What? Dude, look, if you have a political opinion and you're concerned about something, you're allowed to express that opinion. Firing someone for saying they like Trump is insane. Firing someone for donating to Kyle Rittenhouse is insane. However, from day one, I have said, yeah, no, if someone's going online and saying commit an act of violence, we don't support that, ban that. To the point, when I was on Joe Rogan's podcast in 2019, which all of these people were like, Tim, you were so good when you called out the censorship machine. I said Antifa's advocating for violence and engaging in criminal activity and you let them do it. We didn't want them to do it. Now, of course, they lied and they claimed I was advocating to get these people banned. I didn't tell them to do anything. I asked them why one side is allowed to advocate for violence and one side can't say hashtag learn to code. And now, where are we? Donald Trump nearly died. If he did, we're looking at a Franz Ferdinand times 10. International conflict, economic crises, the country in shambles, chaos. We narrowly averted total social disorder and collapse. Narrowly, but for the grace of God, tilting Trump's head forward ever so slightly. I don't got to believe in God. I'm just trying to be dramatic. These people are going online and they are saying, don't miss, which is a statement to say they support the action and wished it was worse. That is advocacy for murder and the destruction of Western civilization and our country. That is beyond the minimum of what we were saying shouldn't be allowed. When Antifa said, we're going to hold a rally, bring weapons, we were like, they're not literally saying to hit someone with it, but we don't think that should be allowed. There was never a point where the right was like, no, Antifa should be allowed to tell people to bring weapons to a rally and wear all black. We were like, no, that's bad. They shouldn't do that. But you're banning people for saying learn to code. That was the big deal. Cancel culture. The problem with it was Sarah Silverman was in a movie. They fired her because 10 years prior she did blackface. We're like, what are you doing? And guess what? Jimmy Kimmel didn't get fired for doing the same thing. It was incongruous rules. It was an unequal application of rules. It was insane rules. That's the problem. Twitter had a misgendering policy. Adhere to the leftist orthodoxy or you're banned. And we said, just make it even. We weren't arguing for right power. A point I made in that podcast. If the right had been arguing for their bias, the right would say Twitter should ban anyone who uses the wrong pronouns. The left argued, if someone says my preferred pronouns are Zer and you don't use it, you're banned. The right said, hey, just don't ban anybody. Let them use the pronouns they want to use. That's a neutral position. Conservatives don't agree with neopronouns. So the conservative position is ban anyone who uses preferred pronouns. Instead, the right argued for the middle ground. Let's be neutral on this one. Just don't advocate violence. And now, I tell you this for Colin Wright, there's only one cancel culture, quote unquote, happening right now, and that is people going online and saying, quote, next time don't miss. Kyle Gass of Tenacious D, he apologized. I accept his apology. I will stand by that acceptance. I don't care how many times you ratio me. I will give people that path to redemption. Kyle Gass made an awful statement on stage where he said, don't miss Trump next time. Next time? Not only is he saying do it, he's saying succeed, and he wants it to happen again. I reject that. Apparently, the story is that the insurance company started pulling out, and the venues won't host them without insurance, and so it destroyed their careers. I accept their apologies. They should be allowed back. Other people won't do it. That's them. Whatever. But Kyle Gass said next time. There was one guy who got fired from a school. He said, next time, don't miss. What does that mean? He is telling him to do it again. Next time, don't miss. You're literally saying you should engage in this again and succeed. I have always opposed that. What liberal has ever supported calls for murdering political leaders? Some, don't get me wrong, but not me. Colin Wright, if you want to play this game and the other people who are agreeing with you, and even Elon Musk, I can only conclude one thing. You support leftist calls for the criminal murder of politicians. Oh, what's that? You're going to say you don't? You don't support that? Then why are you defending the people who are advocating for murder and death and criminal activity? Honest question. When they go online, I don't care if it's Home Depot or a nurse or a teacher, whatever, and they say, next time, don't miss. Why are you defending it? Now, some people have said it's a shame, and that is advocacy for crime, but not a call to action. And I argue that's the line. Hard to know where I stand there because they're not literally saying to do a thing. But the people who are saying next time don't miss. Oh yeah, no, hard out. Like you're fired, you're done. That's advocacy for, that's call to action. That's illegal. And of a presidential candidate, I mean, dude, we're talking about feds knocking on your door at this point. There have been people who have done less and got visits from the Secret Service and fined or charged. There was a kid who posted rap lyrics and went to jail. Let alone people going online and saying, do it again, but this time succeed. And now you've got the classical liberals being like, now that we have the power, we're going to take the high road and let people advocate for murder. What? The Krasensteins, you got to love them. The credibly accused fraudsters. Credibly accused. I'm being facetious. Calm down. These guys are tweeting out like, you're a hypocrite because you don't support free speech anymore. And I'm like, dude, I never supported calling for murder. I never supported celebrating or advocating murder. Not going to happen. You can lie all you want. You can play all the stupid games. I've never supported that. I have shut down shows of Timcast IRL because people have advocated for murder. I have told, and again, I stress this. Yes, obviously, because we don't want to get banned is a big reason. But also, I got to tell you how irksome it is when people say stupid things that will only hurt our cause of truth, justice, and the American way. We call it Fed posting for a reason. When, what's his face? I don't remember the guy. Ray Epps? Is that his name? When he was out in the street before on January 5th saying, I'm going to say it. Oh, we should go in. They all started chanting Fed, Fed, Fed. Because nobody agrees with advocating for criminal activity on the right. That's never been the cause for free speech. Free speech is you have the right to be an a-hole. But what is an a-hole? You have a right to have bad opinions. That's why I say when someone says it's a shame and that's all they said, yeah, I think that's the line. That maybe you get a talking to. Your boss says, please don't post that stuff. It's gonna cause a lot of problems. Okay. But someone who says next time don't miss, which is a lot of what people are saying, is what Kyle Gass said. That's advocacy. That's advocacy for. That's call to action. No dice. It's just, I just can't stand these people, man. The sheer hypocrisy, the sheer and absolute hypocrisy. It's not even necessarily hypocrisy, I suppose. I shouldn't even say it like that. It is the banality of evil. To explain, when the left were, I don't know, posting pictures of wood chippers that they wanted children thrown into, I'm like, hey, not okay. When people on the right say wood chippers, I say, dude, no. Absolutely not. I don't care what you believe. I don't stand for that. But they play these dirty games now where they're trying to defend the left calling for murder, death, and destruction. I don't do it. I'll pop over to Colin Wright's post, see what else he's got. I want to show you this, right? This is the famous meme that many of us understand, where we used to be center left, and then liberals pulled so far left, the center is now to the left of us, and we're now on the right. Colin Wright is a moralless liberal. That is not meant to be an insult or a dig. He is a man without moral. He is an atheist. Well, I'm assuming he's an atheist for liberty, but he is a man without morals. I'd love to take this time to talk to you about morals and principles. The principle of free speech is meaningless because everybody disagrees where the line is. Some people think free speech means you can say whatever you want, even advocate for violence. And I'm like, okay. Well, I kind of draw the line on that one because my concern with that is quite literally people standing in front of a giant angry mob and then yelling, get him, and then they do, like you're kind of a part of that mob. So I've got limits. But those limits aren't based on principle, they're based on morals. And so let's talk about morals when you don't have any. When you don't have any morals, you'll say everyone should be allowed to say anything. Now, to be fair, the free speech absolutists actually may come from a moral position that so long as you don't take the action yourself, it's not your fault. Only those who take the physical action. That could be based on morality. But I think Colin doesn't have morals. So in his mind, he's like, it is bad that people on the right are holding a standard for what they want for society. I don't want to live in that society, dude. I don't want to live in a society where evil people get away with evil and bash you in the face with bricks, but then you're like, well, we have to let them because we believe in the right to bash with bricks. The argument I gave the other day, I said, let's talk about the Second Amendment, right? You got a right to keep and bear arms, don't you? Do you have a right to shoot somebody? No, you don't. Well, hold on. You do not have a right for no reason to shoot somebody. You have a right to defend yourself if your life or the lives of others are being threatened. If you were being shot at and you were taking cover behind a rock and you couldn't get up because you were pinned down, would you then say, damn, I can't get up, I'm stuck, I'm in a dangerous position, and I may die, but I can't fire back because he has a right to keep and bear arms? No, that's stupid. Why is free speech any different? Someone is advocating for murder, death, and destruction, and you're sitting there as he's pointing at people saying, get him, do this, do that, I want to see it, do this, and you're like, damn, he's rallying a large group of people to come and kill me, but I shouldn't be able to do anything about it because I believe in free speech. What? No. That's where I draw the line morally. If a guy came up and said, I don't think anyone should hurt you, we're going to debate the ideas, and if my idea wins and everyone votes for me, I win. That is a moral society I want to live in. I don't want to live in a society where we have to tolerate the far left planning, advocating for, and engaging in violence because we believe in free speech or the Second Amendment. It doesn't make any sense. You do not give stones to the people throwing stones at you. Now, others have made it more simple. I've said, I'm not going to defend communists who have tried to tear down my system and destroy me. I am not going to go to the city walls where people are bashing with a hammer and be like, they got a right to swing hammers. What am I supposed to do? I'm going to say, stop hitting my wall. You're not coming in. Inside here, nobody hits each other with hammers. But these are the moral limits. Some people think nobody should have guns. Well, my morals are based on, to a great degree, the Christian moral tradition, because that's how I was raised. but also because I think these things lend themselves to a functioning, efficient system and the success of humanity. And that's what I want to see. I want to see humans grow, thrive, succeed. And I believe that modern interpretations of Christian moral teachings do wonders to lead us in those directions. You don't got to believe in God to recognize why honoring your father and your mother is functionally important. You don't want to lose the ties to the past where you've learned how to succeed and survive. And when you do, your society fails and humans fail. But it's just plainly about efficiency. How do we maximize free motion of individuals? We have boundaries. That's a reality. You know, I love the saying, those that would give up essential liberty for temporary security deserve neither and will lose both. But I do believe that you have to entertain the conversation a bit deeper than that. Do you want walls around your village? Walls are restrictive. You've got to walk. You can't just climb over them. You got to walk around, but they're also protective. And so the issue is, I lean towards freedom over security. We should have substantially more freedom and substantially less security. We should all have the right to keep and bear arms to defend ourselves and take responsibility for our safety. But some security is good. I'm okay with that. I'm not an anarchist. I think some government is good. Just got to make sure we watch out for corruption and have a proper functioning apparatus for weeding out that corruption every so often, which is very difficult to do. It's tough. But I think the people who are just completely absolutist in these regards are wrong. And they advocate for things that ultimately will cause harm. Heidi Brown says, cancel culture is cringe on the left and cringe on the right. Let people have their ishy opinions and still be able to feed their family. It's not a W to get someone fired from their customer service job while you make thousands of dollars in ad revenue doxing them. I think it is an absurdity that you all are literally defending people who are advocating for murder. Again, I don't know that I care about some Home Depot worker posting on Facebook. I don't know why that. I'm not going to chase that down. I'm also not going to criticize libs of TikTok, and I'm not going to defend this person who called for murder. It's just like, guys, what's your moral line? Honest question. You think it's okay that people go online and say someone should go kill someone else? I don't think so. I don't agree with that. The right has never been about that. The left has accused the right of saying these things, but they never did. Elon Musk agrees with Konstantin Kyson, who says, reminder that doxing people to get them fired from their jobs and canceling comedians for jokes is just as wrong now as it was when the other side was doing it to you. You're talking about Kyle Gass? He said, next time, don't miss. I get it. You say it's a joke. But I tell you my moral limit. When a group of far leftists are standing with masks and torches, and you walk out in front of that group and go, I got a funny joke for you. Hey, everybody, start attacking that guy. He's the reason your life is being destroyed, and he wants to hurt your families. I'd be like, ooh, I get it, but there's a group of angry people with weapons behind you. So maybe there is a contextual or moral line where we say, don't advocate for murder. Tragedy plus time. I agree. Kyle Gass made a joke. He did. It's an inappropriate one because right now there are people who are legitimately calling for murder. Kyle Gass does not want Trump dead. I think that's silly and absurd. I like Tenacious D. I accept his apology. I say, welcome back, guys, and you can disagree with me. But the problem with it is, Kyle Gass went on stage in front of thousands of people and the internet and said, next time, don't miss Trump. And there are people who genuinely are trying to not miss Trump. That just happened. So there is an appropriate time for certain kinds of jokes. If there is no real threat and you say something like, go take an action, we can maybe roll our eyes and say, wow, that was edgy. But when quite literally we narrowly escaped the collapse of Western civilization, it's a bit dramatic, but the collapse of our economy, our political state, maybe don't say, please go do it again. Yeah, that's just not appropriate. And when he apologized, I accept it. If the Home Depot won't apologize, I accept it. If any one of these people apologize, I accept it. That's not cancel culture. Cancel culture was destroy their lives for ridiculous reasons. The editor-in-chief of the Daily Caller tweeted out learn to code in a descriptive way and got suspended. An executive at Netflix was describing racial slurs for HR, and they fired the guy. We ain't talking about that. Stop claiming that when we are mad about people calling for murder, it's the same as when they fired the Netflix guy for describing racial slurs. Insanity. I'm going to wrap it up there, though. I do want to get to the segment where we talk about Donald Trump 330 electoral votes, says CNN. So smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends. Head over to timcast.com, click join us. Become a member to support our work directly. We're back with another segment at 6 p.m., as I mentioned, Donald Trump. And of course, youtube.com/TimcastIRL at 8 p.m. For those that are watching live, keep hanging out. We're going to read some super chats.